All right. Good.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Cher. I am here with KCR and Basement Beats, and we have Stretch Hanson in the building with us today, aka Gavin.
Hello. It's me.
We just got to watch his very stripped down set. It was super, super cool. Very raw. We got to learn a little bit about him, and now we're going to learn more. So, how's it going, Gavin?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get to chat it up.
I know. Me too. So, for the people that don't know anything about you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe who is Stretch Hanson?
Yes.
How that came to be.
I'm Stretch Hanson, and
Wild.
yeah, for better or for worse. It's so when I started making my own music, I didn't really have a plan to put any of it out, and when I did get to putting it out, I was like, dang, what should I put this out under? Because I don't really want to have like some name that's like not me that I have to like create a whole character for. And so my dad is I'm tall, and my dad is 5'10", which is also tall, but he calls me Stretch to make fun of me. Like even when I like get home from not seeing them for a long time, he'll be like, "What's up, Stretch?" And so I was like, "Okay, that's pretty cool. We're going in the right direction." And that was too generic to just be Stretch. And so, opposed to all popular belief, I'm Latino. My grandpa's from Honduras, and he tries to tell me and my little brother and my dad that we look handsome, but he misspells it all the time, and he goes, "You look so Hanson." And so I was like, that could be a last name, Stretch Hanson.
No, it has a good ring to it. It really does.
And that's Stretch Hanson right there. But it's just me.
It is, as we learned. But tell us a little bit about Gavin. Where
About
are you
Gavin.
from? Maybe, yeah, like your general.
My vibe.
Yeah.
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, so a little bit above LA.
Okay.
I went to college at Cal State Fullerton in Orange County. I studied like a pre-medical degree, and I have 3 siblings. My family lives in Arizona. Shout out Arizona. I love it out there. My dad used to work in different parts of the fashion industry, marketing, advertising, analytics, stuff like this. And yeah, I mean, I love music. I tour as a drummer a lot. I tour as a guitarist or a bassist. I run playback, and now I have my own stuff. But that's a short synopsis.
So tell us a little bit about your journey with music. Maybe when did you first pick up an instrument? When did you realize this was something you wanted to pursue and do?
Yeah, I started playing piano when I was 4. My parents were very like, you should learn this because of all the benefits, not just knowing how to play piano. And so from the age of 4 to 15, I played piano. They would have me go take theory tests, like written theory
Your
tests.
parents would?
Yeah, like as a kid, I would do recitals. I would do Certificate of Merit, which is a program that like you get a certificate of merit that is like you are like a developing young piano. Like it was very serious stuff.
Wow.
Studied jazz, studied contemporary, classical, baroque, and like that was what I would do. And it was fun. I look back and, I really appreciate it. I love piano, but when I was like 15, my dad used to be a drummer, and so we had a drum set at the house, and I always would see it. I'm like, that kind of seems a little more chaotic. Like that seems kind of fun. And when I got to high school, I started learning drums just by listening and playing along. Wasn't very good, but was very eager. And so I started throwing house shows, throwing house parties, and had a band, and I would play shows with them. It was really fun. I was not the greatest drummer, but I had a really good time like interacting with people and like setting stuff up. And COVID hit, and I was kind of like, do I want to do this drumming thing? So I started learning jazz because I was like, if I could sneak my way into the jazz program at my school, like that's going to be the best thing. That's the hardest thing I could do is learn jazz. And so took a year where nothing was happening, took lessons, would just practice for hours and hours every day, and like learned jazz, and brought back my music reading and snuck into the jazz program, did jazz at my school, did music theory, and like kind of simultaneously started playing for other people outside of my own band, Concrete, and you just kind of goes different places, and it took me to touring the world, and I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I can't believe it did, but that's where it went.
Yeah, so speaking of touring the world, you got to open up for Tate McRae. Keyla mentioned Slater. You've been able to do some really cool stuff like as a musician. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed, like, to have gotten those opportunities. Like, Slater was my first ever artist that I toured for, and I mean, shout out to Slater. His music is so cool. Like, he's one of the coolest artists that I've ever played for, in my opinion. And just, you know, being a kid in college, being like, oh yeah, like I work at In-N-Out, and like I need these days off because I have to go on tour. And like, thank God, my manager at the time was like, okay. And she let me go on tour with Slater, and I'd like come back from the tour and work 2 or 3 days and then go back out.
That's crazy.
And it was horrible.
This was while you were in college.
This is while I was in college too.
So college, In-N-Out, and touring.
Yeah, there was a lot of different pieces, but there was one day that I actually played in San Diego with Slater on one of the tours, and we drove back and got home at like 2 a.m. And then I used to work the morning cleanup, so it was a 5 a.m. shift. And so I went in to work at 5 a.m., worked that shift, and then like met up with Slater, and we drove to Phoenix or something. Like, it was like horrible. Like, it was like
awful.
On an hour of sleep, playing like multiple shows, and like 15 hours of driving combined between Phoenix and back in San Diego. But that was how it happened. And, you know, once you do one tour, people kind of take you seriously. And so I started getting offers to do other stuff. And I was trapped in college. One of my good friends from my old church, Presley Regier, when he first posted about his music, I was like, hey, I want to be your drummer. And I would call him and ask him and check in, and wouldn't hear from him a ton. But then he called me one day and he was like, yo, I have a tour. Like, you still want to do this? And I was like, yeah, bro, like, what you got? And he was like, we're going to play Madison Square Garden. We're going to play the Greek Theater. We're going to play like all these amphitheaters, these stadiums. And also it's already sold out.
No way.
And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I like kind of couldn't believe it. And so I was like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, could you send me more details?
Yeah.
And it turned out to be like this Tate McRae tour that was like,
that's crazy,
massive, like a North American leg, fully sold out, playing for like a minimum of 5,000 people every night.
That's crazy. What was that like with an audience that big?
I mean, I don't think I even dreamed that like I would do something that big. Like, within the same 6 months, I would play for my friend's band just for fun, and it was like 5-6 people at shows. And so and I was in college still, so to go from
crazy.
Like classes and like dinky little backyard shows to like you know, you're like essentially worshipped on stage by like thousands of people. Like, I would get bum rushed by like fans. People were showing up with like shirts that were like, I mean, not as much as Presley, of course, because he's the star. He's got to be the star. He's awesome. But like, it was weird to go and people would like know me. Yeah. And they'd be like wearing shirts that were like, I'm only here for the drummer, or like, I love Gavin.
That's
it was
crazy.
Like, it was mind boggling. It was so crazy.
And you got in so last minute too. Like, that's wild.
It was insane. It was just life changing. And it really informed a lot of how I do my music, because I think the industry is built around worshiping the artist. And it's, I'm not sure that's the healthiest way, because it forces a lot of these artists to have to create this image that they're like doing well at all times, and like they're rich and they're famous and they're awesome. Happy. And it's like, they aren't most of the time. Like, they just aren't. And so that's kind of part of one of my goals with my music, is to try to be like real and raw. And like, you know, I'm not some big shot. Like, I just make music, and I hope that the people that find it connect with it and enjoy it. And I don't need it to be something that everybody loves. I don't need, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, if you can connect to a few people, I mean, you win.
Yeah.
But so yeah, not only do you hop on to crazy tours and play other people's music, but you do produce, make your own. Right. I want to hear about your creative process.
Yeah.
And you talked a lot about lyrics, so I'd love to hear about your lyrical process.
Yeah. This creative process, if I'm producing for somebody else, you know, my main goal at all times is to take their vision and their art and bring it to life. And to, you know, elevate it in places where my experience or my skills can, you know, bring their vision to life. I think a lot of production would be done better if people didn't try to impose their own ideas.
Yeah.
But for my music, I mean, like I said, I have a lot of these songs from like years ago. I'm just very active subconscious, so I'll write down thoughts, I'll write down lyrics, ideas. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just like demo stuff out and then add things and see where they fit, try different harmonies. I love lyrics. I think I like lyrics on both ends of the extreme, where they're so simple and so dumb that they're like, what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, that's just gibberish. But then I like to have like deeper meanings connected, where it's like, you know, you can find it if you want. Yeah. I don't, you know, I think that's the cool part, is like a lot of random little like Easter egg stuff. Like, if you go and you look around on different Stretch Hanson things, like you could find more and more and more if you want to. But if you don't want to, like it's, you know, it's just another piece of content.
It's enjoyable surface level, but then the people that dig,
there's like
get
a whole
something
world
else out of it. Yeah.
Trying to make a little world here.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm obviously very involved in college radio, and you were too at Cal State Fullerton. So I want to hear about, I mean, do you feel like college radio has opened the doors for you in any way?
I'm a big fan of college radio, honestly. I think college radio is such like a cool opportunity. And, you know, the skills that you are developing by working here are so useful in like the real world from what I can tell. You know, I don't really know that much. But
and honestly, in anything, like I feel like the skills you get, you can kind of translate to any industry too.
Yeah. I loved college radio. I loved being able to just like throw a bunch of music that was not consistent at people. And that was, you know, that was my whole thing is like, you know, I might play like some kind of like beat down hardcore song followed up by jazz, followed up by like the 1975. And then it would be like Ty Segall and, you know, Fuzz. And just like, you know, you'd get a lot of different things. And maybe you found some stuff you liked. And I'd also play my friends' music.
Yep,
like
I know.
Artists that I know. I'd be like, this is my friend that did this. I played the drums. Or like, this is one of my friends. This is his music. And this is this person. And like, you should go. So I tried to use it as like a way to spotlight people that I really think are still trying to make art and don't just want to be famous at the cost of being a musician or an artist.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I did some digging and I saw you were a molecular biotech major.
Yes.
So what was it like balancing such an intense major with your music and touring?
Yeah.
And honestly, college radio too.
Honestly, it was just like being down to like keep going at all times. Like it literally was a grind. And I mean, some of those classes, like a lot, honestly, are no joke. And I chose that major because in high school I did gross anatomy through Loma Linda Medical School. So I got to work on full human cadavers.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, yeah, it was like life-changing, like massive life-changing experience. And so I had to present path reports to the medical school at the end of my senior year of high school about like this human body that I'd been working on for a year. And like just going so in depth and seeing how fragile the human body is, seeing like all these tiny little like inner workings like that keep us alive was like so humbling and changed my perspective on a lot of things. But then I was kind of like, okay, college, like, you know, I have to go and I don't want to be bored. And this was crazy. Like I couldn't believe it. And all the kids in that class were like, I'm going to become a surgeon. I'm going to become like an anesthesiologist. Like I'm going to sell medical devices. And like, they're all super smart and like, you know, academically they're like all put together. And at the time I was just like way taller than everyone else. I had like bleached white hair. I just stuck out like a sore thumb. And I was like, well, what are these other kids doing? Like, I'm sure I can figure that out.
Yeah.
And that was why I picked it. And so
No way.
it was just the thing. Like I would come down here and play shows and I'd drive back and like be in virology the next day or
That's
be
insane.
in like, you know, OChem 2 or like,
That's crazy.
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, safe to say you were not bored in college.
Not bored, definitely busy, but there were
Busy.
some classes I was like, come on now. Like, what are we doing? Ecology?
Especially when you just open for Tate McRae and then you have to go sit in class. I'm sure that's kind of a crazy switch up.
That was crazy because I played MSG 4 days before flying back, and I missed the first 2 days of school and went to class. I got a ticket on the way home from the airport.
Wow.
After being gone for 2 months. Went to class at 8 a.m. and it was like, you have makeup work. What's going on?
That's wild.
And no one, like, you know, as they should, no one cared. It was just like, welcome back.
Yeah.
You have 20 units of 400 level molecular bio, and if you don't do it, you don't graduate.
That's insane. That's crazy. What's next for you? I mean, you graduated college.
Yeah.
You're working on your own stuff, but what do the people need to know about your future?
My future. My future. Well, what they need to know is that I do not have it figured out. Like, you know, like I talked about in the live stream, like I thought I had some things kind of figured out in college, and like I feel less like that now.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're hearing this, work hard, but like don't be mean to yourself because it is a confusing and tough world. But I do have an EP. It's my first body of work for Stretch Hanson. It's called A Bouquet of Deep Dark Thoughts.
Nice.
And it has 7 songs. It's going to come out hopefully like before the end of the year.
Okay.
Working to finish it. I have the next single is Arkansas, which I played. That one comes out in about a week and a half.
Exciting.
And, you know, that will be followed up like by a debut like release show
Nice.
that I have in LA in January.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we will definitely keep our eyes and ears peeled for that. It's very exciting. It was so nice meeting you, Gavin.
Yeah, it was great
Stretch,
to meet you
Hanson.
too.
Yeah, if you haven't already watched the set, go watch it. It's awesome. And thank you for listening as always. And yeah, this was Basement Beats.
Yay.
Nice. You got the clap now.